I'm Quentin. For this project, I thought it would be cool to show off the highlights of my creative practices, and I mainly want to talk about those interests that happen outside of school. To start off, as of now, I'm a 4th year junior studying animation. I spent 3 years at Harold Washington Community College and earned my associate's degree in digital multimedia design. Now, I'm doing 2 more years of school here at Columbia College to complete my bachelor's in traditional animation. Regarding my major, I've learned the basics and fundamentals of animation at community college. I also practice drawing, graphic design, a little bit of coding, and other computer art. Outside of school, I sometimes like to do videography. As far as creative practices, I never thought of this interest as a creative outlet since it stems away from traditional forms of art. Most of the time, I just did it for fun and have always thought of it that way. I learned video editing all the way back in the beginning of high school. In my online friend group at the time, a few of us were making gaming videos for YouTube, so we could show each other moments that we missed if someone wasn't online. Eventually, I started doing the same thing as them, and my friends were more than willing to show me the ropes of making video content. Fast forward a few years later, I'm in college and I'm still doing mediocre gaming videos, but I also started recording content for both school and for vlogging. I took a videography class at community college and that helped open new doors for me. I decided to test the waters of my capabilities and recorded music videos to show for it. At the time, they were very last minute ideas for school projects and they all worked out. I was able to replicate my vision and was lucky enough to have friends at my side to help make it possible. I also made one short film, but I never really talk about that anymore. For the vlogs I mentioned earlier, they featured my cosplay. The videos are mainly focused on the places I visit, and I'm just a reoccurring character in it. Cosplay. To make clear, the formal definition of it states the activity or practice of dressing up as a character from a work of fiction, such as a comic book, video game, or television show. Most of the cosplays I've done are from video games I've played. I still have lots of cosplays for later, but this is only some of it. For the vlogs, I record the journeys of my friends and I exploring comic book conventions and anime conventions together. And they all happen right here in Chicago. I was inspired by other cosplays that I've seen at convention halls over the years. I always see lots of amazing outfits and crafts that people have spent lots of time working on, and the very image of their work just looks very cool. Essentially, you're observing other people's art when you see their cosplays out in the wild like this. I actually started cosplaying only 4 years ago, in late 2021, and after seeing what cosplay has to offer, I wanted to try it for myself. My first cosplay was Miles Morales from the Spider-Verse. I decided on Spider-Man because at the time it was my favorite animated movie. It was winter of 2021. I attended the Chicago Comic and Entertainment Expo, C2E2 for short. It's an annual fan convention that brings people from all over the place to celebrate pop culture in the heart of downtown Chicago. And the focus of the convention centers around comics, cosplay, gaming, movies, and anime, so there's lots of fandoms that people can explore and take part in. It wasn't my first time going to this convention. I've attended a few times before, just not in costume. Honestly, as a first-time cosplayer, I didn't know what to expect. I explored the convention like usual, hung out with friends, but I was definitely less comfortable physically. Wearing a bodysuit kinda sucks. I don't recommend it, but it did make for a couple cool photos in my opinion. For this cosplay, I got to wear normal clothes on top of it anyway, so it didn't feel totally unbearable. The gloves made it hella difficult to use my phone though. Overall, I enjoyed dressing up for the event. It was a new experience and I wanted to keep doing it to see where it would lead me. About a year later, I was deciding on my next cosplay. This time, I knew the feeling of being stuck in a costume for an entire day, so I was figuring out what would look cool but could also be practical. When I'm choosing a cosplay to make, I like to write down my ideas. I go over what games I'm playing, movies I watched recently, animes that I finished, the list goes on. Whatever I land on, I pick out my favorite characters and decide who would be most possible to dress as. For my second cosplay, I chose this guy, Thatcher, an SAS soldier from a video game called Rainbow Six Siege. It's a tactical 5v5 team-based shooter game that features military operators of different specialties who compete against each other in attacking and defending based missions. This is not an ad. The background of the character isn't too important when it comes to making the outfit, but it's helpful to know who your character is and what they do. I mean, you should know because you're dressing as them. It's vital to closely examine the character's clothes and research what you can find online to match what they have. In this case, it was easy figuring out what he wears, but finding the exact copy isn't always possible. For other cosplays, finding clear references besides the given source material can be tricky sometimes. Most of the time, your cosplay won't always come out 100% to how the original looks, and that's okay. When I do online shopping for my potential matches, I tend to use Etsy, eBay, and Amazon. Sometimes if the outfit calls for it, I'll thrift shop for cheaper alternatives if available. And if I need to sew something, I get my materials from Michael's craft store. Etsy is a good place for finding specific items that aren't conventionally made. Not everything can be found from official retailers, so there are artists out there on Etsy that help out by making custom things like accessories, patches, 3D prints, whole outfits, etc. But if you end up not finding anything that suits your needs from anywhere, you resort to making your own stuff. You can get creative that way. Sometimes I'm not always satisfied with how something would look, so I'll customize it myself using whatever resources I have at hand, and that's usually enough. I like to use fake blood for some of my cosplays. It's a small detail that can bring out more personality in both props and outfit pieces. As far as craftsmanship, I haven't dove deep into that category yet. The most I've done as of now is stitch my own patches. It's not hard, but it is time consuming because I don't own a sewing machine, so I do everything by hand. Oh yeah, reviewing your budget is also important for this. I never really give myself a price limit, but I don't go all out on spending, of course. Like, I'm broke as dude. I try to be cheap. Keyword, try. Especially since the outfit isn't going to be worn often. Because of that, assembling cosplay can take months at a time. Especially if what you need comes from overseas, but since I'm never in a rush, it works out. Once you're done putting together your cosplay and making sure everything works for you, this is the part where you show it off to the world. Most of the time I take my cosplay out to conventions to do just that, but usually I like to get my photos taken first. This is Kyle. He's my photographer and my best friend. He's also the main character in all my other video projects. He takes pretty much all my pictures and helps direct my photo shoots too. He has an Instagram page for his photography. He's been doing photos for quite a while, but started his online account only a couple years ago. You should check him out. He's easy to get a hold of and is always open to commissions. Whenever I request a gig from him, it usually goes like this.
Hello?
Hey Kyle.
What's up?
Hey, so if you're not too busy, I was wondering if you would like to do a photo shoot this Saturday. I think it'll be fun.
Nah, fuck off, dude.
Hello? After successfully booking a day, we move on to planning. When coordinating for photo shoots, I take into mind what would fit the character's background the most. Do they look better somewhere urban, somewhere more natural, maybe by the water? You also want to fit the vibe of the characters themselves. It helps bring the costume to life. I try to find places that are public but also secluded enough for us to take photos in peace. There's lots of places in Chicago to take pictures in. You just have to do some research. I also take into account the kind of weather I would prefer for the day. I am by no means an expert of any kind, but when it comes to natural lighting, overcast and sunny before noon is the best time to do pictures. It's also less crowded for some places. When Kyle and I do gigs together, we don't take them that seriously. We're there to have fun, and that's what it's really about at the end of the day. Besides photos, I like to get my cosplay on video too. Sometimes I do short cinematic introductions for my videos to establish the cosplay I'm wearing that day. I like to incorporate this stuff as an excuse to play around filmmaking. When I arrive at the convention center, I never walk in with a plan in mind, and I record whatever I can to show what piques my interest. Most of the time, these places are filled to the brim with crowds, so holding up a camera isn't the most convenient. For those who haven't been to a convention before, pop culture conventions are usually split up into 5 to 7 sections, sometimes more. Each section goes by different names at each con, but generally they're the same throughout all events. The exhibit hall, the section where you'll find vendors of all kinds selling things like collectibles, clothes, accessories, books, etc. And some other stuff, if you're into that. You can find lots of cool displays of different franchises throughout the exhibit floor too. There's Artist Alley, where independent artists thrive and show off their personal artwork to sell and promote their brand. The celebrity section gives fans opportunities to meet their favorite actors and creators. Panels are where attendees gather to watch and discuss various topics through presentation and/or demonstration. There's activity areas and rooms for people to play video games and tabletop games, and lastly, Cosplay Central. This part of the convention is where attendees gather and take photos and meet cosplayers of different fandoms. You'll find cosplays all throughout the show floor, but this is the area where specialized photo sets and scheduled gatherings take place. Sometimes I use the photo sets for myself, but most of the time I'm the one taking pictures of other cosplayers. I try to focus on the cosplay aspect of these conventions. I like to feature characters and outfits that I find cool, so I do my best to take as many photos as I can with other cosplayers. I got lucky once and met an internet famous cosplayer on the show floor. Also, it's normal to ask people who cosplay for photo requests. The main point of us dressing up is to show other people, so it's flattering when someone asks for a picture or gives a compliment, because it shows that someone likes your work and they want to savor it. One of the biggest panel events in all pop culture conventions is the cosplay contest. This is the time when cosplayers can really shine. The event is self-explanatory, but it's very elaborate and taken seriously by those who participate. The contests select to reward winners cash prizes, tickets to other conventions, and sometimes trips to other countries, usually Japan. Small-scale contests feature amateur competitors who are there for purely the fun of it and do performances for the audience. Larger contests consist of professional cosplayers who make their outfits completely from scratch. It's a competition of craftsmanship and glory. Costume makers and cosplayers, sometimes from all around the world, all gather to be judged and watched by hundreds of people. This is the one event I prioritize attending because here you could really observe people's art. Cosplayers presenting themselves on stage have the guts just to be there, and showing their art to a live audience is a whole other level of confidence. As someone who's watched many of these performances, it's inspiring to see them walk the stage and show what they're passionate about. After all, I was inspired by the same people. I was motivated to start doing cosplay because I saw the light that was brought out in others who enjoy this hobby. It's not just dressing up as your favorite fictional character, assembling costumes, posing for a camera, or even putting on a show for an audience. It's freely expressing yourself. I was able to do these things because I literally said, fuck it, I'm gonna do it. It was all because I was interested in trying something new. Don't be afraid to do something you haven't done before, because you never know what lies ahead of you. With all this, I found a community. I found something to dedicate my time to, something to be excited about, and best of all, something to look back on. Thanks for watching.